The children were playing. The dog was not. Mira noticed this from the back porch. They were in the yard. 4 kids, 3 of them hers, one of them the neighbour's daughter, Praz, ages ranging from 2 to 7, and the golden doodle, who usually inserted himself into any outdoor child activity with considerable enthusiasm, was standing at the edge of the yard, near the fence, facing south, not moving. His name was Clyde. He was 4 years old. He inserted himself into child activities, food situations, and any cardboard box that entered the house. He did not stand at the edge of the yard facing south. That was not one of his things. She watched him for 30 seconds. He didn't move. She called him. He looked at her once and went back to his position. She went inside and got the weather app. The alert was already there. Tornado watch issued at 2:47 p.m., effective until 8 p.m. for the county. It was 3:14 p.m. She had not checked the weather in the past 2 hours. She came back outside. Clyde was still at the fence. She said, "Everyone inside." The children? Accustomed to the adult initiating activity termination tone, went inside with the compliant resignation of children who are mid-game and know that protests will not change the outcome. Paz's mother, who lived 2 houses down and had been informed of the watch via text from her own phone during the sequence, was already coming up the driveway. The tornado did not touch down in their immediate neighbourhood. It touched down 4 miles south, which was the direction Clyde had been facing. If you stay for stories about what animals sense before we do, you are in the right place. Subscribe so you do not miss the next one. The damage report in the local news the following morning described an EF1, property damage, no fatalities. The specific kind of tornado event that produces a vivid line on the map between where it was and where it wasn't. Their address was 3 miles outside the line. Mira was not sure what she would have done if Clyde had not been at the fence. She thought she would have checked the weather eventually. She thought the watch alert was on her phone. She thought that at some point she would have brought the children inside. She was not sure how much time that would have taken. She asked her husband, who was a meteorologist, about the barometric pressure at that time. He looked at the station data and told her the pressure had been dropping since noon. A significant drop, the kind associated with severe convective systems, beginning approximately 4 hours before the tornado touchdown. She said, "Could Clyde have felt that at 2 o'clock?" He said, "Sensitive animals can detect barometric changes that our instruments pick up at lower thresholds than our instruments alarm on." He said, "The question of whether he connected the barometric change to the directional threat and oriented accordingly is a different question." She said, "He was facing south." He said, "Yes." He was quiet. He said, "I don't have a mechanism for that." Has your dog ever done something that made no sense until it was the only thing that made sense? Tell us in the comments. These stories deserve to be heard. She thought about the mechanism question for several days. She was not a scientist. She was a nurse, which gave her a specific relationship with evidence, and with what evidence required before it changed how you acted. She thought about the 4 children in the yard, ages 2 through 7, and the 30 seconds she had spent watching a dog not move. She thought about going inside to get the weather app. She thought about the specific quality of Clyde's stillness, the focused, planted, directional quality that was nothing like his normal behavior. She thought about what the mechanism was for a dog correctly orienting toward the direction of a developing tornado, while it was still forming, 40 minutes before it touched down. 4 miles away. She did not have the mechanism. She had the outcome. Every guardian deserves to be recognized, even the ones who never asked for anything in return. If stories like this matter to you, subscribe so you never miss the next one. She talked to a meteorology professor at the regional university 6 weeks later at a public safety talk about severe weather detection. After the formal presentation, she described what Clyde had done. The professor listened and said, "There are documented cases of animals, particularly dogs, orienting toward developing severe weather systems before human detection. The orientation may be related to infrasound. The very low-frequency sound waves produced by large weather systems that propagate outward from the storm center and are detectable to animals with appropriate hearing sensitivity." He said, "Dogs hear infrasound. We don't. If a developing tornado produces infrasound signatures that propagate ahead of the visible storm, a dog could localize the source direction through differential arrival times at each ear, the same way any animal uses binaural hearing to locate sound." He said, "Whether this is what happened in your yard, I can't confirm." He said, "The behavior you're describing is consistent with it." She had 3 weather apps on her phone now, set to alarm at different thresholds. She checked them more regularly than she had before. She also watched Clyde when they were outside. Mostly, he was inserting himself into child activities and cardboard boxes, which was normal and right in the version of Clyde she had always known. But sometimes she noticed him at the edge of the yard, his head up and his attention somewhere past the fence line, and she went inside and checked the apps. She had not needed to take the children in for weather reasons again. She thought, so far so good. She also thought, if Clyde tells me to, I will.